Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I am so excited to welcome back my dear friend and Facebook ads expert, Tara Zirker. She is the founder of Successful Ads Club. Many of you in the spa industry, I'm sure, have heard me talk about her, have joined her program to learn about Facebook ads. She's absolutely incredible and has a ton of knowledge in the spa industry. And she has one of our most downloaded podcast episodes to date. So we thought that it was time to bring her back to talk about these iOS updates, to talk about how you can use that as a competitive advantage, and some different low-cost ad strategies that you can be utilizing in your business. So tons of information. You're definitely going to want to grab a pen and paper, take down some notes, maybe listen to this episode again. So I'm just going to do this super short intro and let you guys just dive right into the good stuff because there is a lot of good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, Tara, welcome back to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. So excited to have you here. You are, I think you're in our top 3 episodes of downloads.
Aww.
How to 10x, 10 ways to 10x your revenue with Facebook ads. So that was one of our most downloaded, most loved, tons of questions, tons of actions taken from that episode. And when we asked hey, who do you want to see on the podcast? We were getting DMs requesting to have you back on. So I'm so excited because there has been a lot that has gone on with Facebook and ads since that episode.
Oh, a lot. Yes, a lot! Exclamation mark.
So why don't we just dive right in and start off with these iOS updates? What is the deal with them? What's going on? Why do we care?
Okay, elephant in the room, right? Let's just after it. All right. So iOS 14, basically, here's why you care. 80% of people who access Facebook are accessing Facebook by mobile only, meaning in a whole year, they're not logging on one time from their desktop. It is on their phone. So you have to understand Facebook and Instagram. So many of us as business owners, we're still accessing these things on our desktops, right? Most of the world is not. 80% of the world is not. 80%. Can you believe that? So now you have to consider if you are an esthetician in the US, in Canada, in the UK, all these big countries, most of your traffic, about half of it, most of your traffic, number one, is mobile, and about half of that traffic is going to be from people on their iPhones, people on their iPads, etc. So they're running off of the iOS platform.
Apple products.
Apple products. And essentially what Apple said was, we don't really like all of these advertisers being able to chase people around the web with their ads. And that's called, third-party tracking is basically what enables that. And so instead, we are going to ask people, they have to literally opt in, not opt out, but opt in if they want to be tracked by advertisers. So most people are saying no, and they're clicking the no button. And it's about 80-90% of people are opting out of the ability to be tracked. So it means a few things. Number one, it means there's going to be a huge shift over time in the strategy of retargeting. Number two, it means there's going to be new tools and techniques implemented in order to capture your own data, turn third-party data into first-party data. That's already happening. Number three, it means that you're going to also see all the other big players following suit, right? So this is not once Apple does something, everyone else is going to as well. So, as this continues to evolve, you will see that this continues to change. Android, I'm sure, will be next to go. And then it's every single basically operating platform is going to follow suit to this change. So you have to know, even though it's only Apple, it is going to affect everything eventually. And what are we on? Number 4, the big thing to know is that they're still effective. You just can't see the exact data that you could see before. So if a sale happens, if a lead happens, if somebody puts in their email, it's still happening. It's just that there's now a curtain between you and your data, and Facebook is not allowed to report it. So they can say, things are still happening. There's still conversions happening. But unfortunately, with the iOS change, Facebook's not allowed to report unless somebody opted in to being tracked. They're not allowed to report that back to the ads manager, back to your dashboard.
Now, the other thing that I noticed for us, and I imagine this is true, I'm sure this is true for brick and mortar spas, we had to verify all of our page domains. So we would not be able to do ads unless we owned those particular pages.
Exactly. So let me see if I can refocus.
That looked like you were doing a reel.
For everybody listening in, my camera there we go, went out of focus because I'm jumping around too much with excitement about all of this iOS stuff. Okay. Yes, exactly. So in order to advertise now on Facebook, it is mandatory that you do two things. Number one, you verify your domain. And I want to say something really important about that. And number two, that you basically prioritize which events are most important to you. Is it the lead capture? Is it the purchase? Because there's a few little nuances and rules and changes to how Facebook can report the data that people are, if somebody's opting in, then Facebook can report the first conversion event. They can report across 9 campaigns, and they can report across 8 types of events. So they could report a lead, a purchase, et cetera. You just have to prioritize to Facebook which ones are most important to you. Now, is this a good place to insert a really important detail?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Here's my IMO. In my opinion, I believe that it's a 30 to 40 minute chore, verifying your domain so that you're able to advertise. Whenever you start seeing stuff like that, I want everybody who's listening to really listen to this. Whenever you start seeing things like this, the most normal reaction is to freak out and pause everything you're doing and saying, oh my gosh, I've got to hire someone. Okay, I'll put it on my list. I'll, go on Upwork, find some ads person to do. Oh my goodness, this is going to take me months. That right there. Okay. Hopefully this is what separates you from everyone else, because as soon as you see things like that, what should be clicking in your mind is, this is my competitive advantage. This is my opportunity.
100%.
Right now. Dee, I know you do, you train people this way too, because most people are backing off, and you're going to say, how long is this going to take me? 30 to 40 minutes? Oh, I'm doing this. And I know that most of my competitors will not get around to doing this because of their own mindset issues for months. Some of them.
So they're not going to be, even if you are following all the rules of Facebook, if your pages are not verified, you cannot run ads. They will not let you run ads. So all of your competitors, I say that in quotes, right? But all of your competitors, if they're not doing that and you are, think about all the exposure to different people that you can have, and likely at a lower rate too, right? Because it's Facebook is that kind of supply and demand, whatever. For me, it's amazing. Right? Because I'll go and do the work.
You'll do the 30 to 40 minute chore, and you'll keep going, and you'll keep getting better and better and better. Meanwhile, so many people in your industry around you, in your market, they're like, woo, they're literally delaying their success by months. And I'm not even joking when I say sometimes this will take people a year or two, because they will back so completely off, or they'll switch, platforms, or they'll go chase some other strategy. The shiny object syndrome, right? Something that is easier, that looks easier, and then that will change too. And then they'll have to circle back around. And speaking of that changing too, I mean, Apple's they're really on a rampage this year, because they also just introduced, some email things that is going to, people who are like, oh my gosh, this is only affecting the ads people, and all the ads people are just, trying to figure all this out and whatnot, and feeling like we're pioneers in this whole new world of advertising. Guess what? they just changed the landscape with email. And over the next couple of years, you're going to see that email open rates, well, they're doing away with the mechanisms that make it possible to really track that effectively. So Apple's kind of leading the way in privacy in a way that's really shaking up the entire marketing world. And if you're a business owner, I know that your first priority never wanted to be a marketer, but I hate to tell you, if you're a business owner, you have to know marketing. You don't have to know all the nitty gritty. You don't have to know how to do everything. You have to know the big picture landscape so that you can start to adjust your strategy, because your role is the visionary and to hold your team accountable. But you need to know like what's changing so that you can help guide and lead your business to success. And marketing is a huge part of any business's success journey for sure.
I 100% agree. I think it's so, so important. Question on the tracking in relation to iOS updates. So we noticed on this past launch that we did, typically when we're looking at our results from our ads and then our results that we're seeing in our CRM, they were way off.
For sure.
Like Facebook said, you had X amount of sales. And then our CRM, we use Entreport. Entreport said, you have this many sales. So it was like two different planets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that from the update?
Totally from the update. And it will continue to get more dramatic as people keep updating their platforms, right? Some people are still running, a ton of people are still running off of old, iOS platforms. And so as operating systems. So as they update, then they're going to get these little messages. Do you want to opt into being tracked? Again, we know 80 to 90% of people are clicking no. So it'll continue to become, more and more dramatic, these differences.
So then as marketers or as business owners, how do we measure that Facebook ads or whatever advertising we're doing? We talk a lot about cost per lead, earnings per lead, like all of these, return on ad spend, right? If we're not getting the right metrics, how can we make an objective decision on where we're going to put our money?
Okay. Now, I want to preface this by saying I am not an attribution expert, nor did I ever intend to be, but I've had to become one thanks to all of these changes, right? It's amazing. And I feel like in the spa world, everyone understands this. It's amazing how you take one little platform like Facebook ads, and there's so many experts that go into this. There's attribution experts, there's data scientists, there's people who run the ads, copywriting experts, and video, producers. And it's amazing how many people can go into one tiny little feature, and the same thing when you're thinking about social media organic, or you're thinking about the spa world, and how many different expertises exist there. I don't even know.
It's a word. It's a word.
We're gonna go with it. So a few ways that you can do this. Number one, there are software tools that will still help you track. Okay. So think of things like Wicked Reports. It's an investment. And honestly, if you're just spending a few $100 a month on your ads, it's not one that I think that you should be making. But if you've got a sizable budget and you really want to know exactly where people are coming from, how long it took them to convert all of these, things, then Wicked Reports is one that's leading the way with this sort of attribution challenge that now exists more than ever before. Number two, here's the thing. If you are spending $500 a month, $1,000 a month, and maybe you've got some stuff from social media, but really if your primary vehicle of marketing is advertising, and maybe you're a one platform type of person, so it's all Facebook ads or it's all Google ads. Even if you can't, Google ads isn't having this problem yet, although they will. Even if you can't attribute it directly to Facebook because there's that curtain between you and your data, you can kind of make some really educated guesstimates, right? You can say, listen, I know that Facebook, by the way, has always told us there's a 30% over under situation. So they've always admitted to about 30% of conversions are usually I should say up to 30% of your conversions can be over or under reported. And now it's just going to be who knows what. It could be a 60% difference, really, truly, especially as this continues to roll out. So if you are able to make, conservative and, pretty solid like guesstimates, then I would just go with that and I wouldn't worry too much about it.
And I think in spa, what most people are doing is running ads to a specific offer.
Absolutely.
And so if you're just doing that, get a Brazilian wax, get your underarm wax complimentary. Like if that's what they're booking, you have to know it came from that ad, right?
Totally. So exactly, Dee. So and by the way, so let's say you do have a Brazilian. Let's say the offer is some sort of, Brazilian bikini wax, get it, whatever it is. Let's say that is the offer and you've got Google and you've got Facebook running ads to that. Well, you could just create two completely separate funnels. They get their own emails, they get their own, and then on your back end, you'll be able to see it. Now, maybe Facebook is telling you 2 sales and on your back end, you're seeing 8 sales. Well, that's fine. You can say, with pretty much nearly, 100% confidence, well, this all came from Facebook. They're just not allowed to, they're literally not allowed to report the data back to me because somebody opted out of.
So it's making the CRMs that we're choosing, where we're building our funnels, et cetera, even more important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So let's do a 180.
Love it.
That's iOS updates. So let's get into the creative because we're seeing a lot right now with Reels on Instagram. And, I've been saying Reels are the real deal. Reels are the thing right now. There's always something. And, next month it might be something new. Like who knows, right? But right now, Reels are the thing that you're getting the most organic reach. How are people capitalizing on that with ads? Can you do Reels ads? What's the deal? Like, how do we make the most of it?
Absolutely. Take your best Reels, obviously the ones. So you want to think about in your social media strategy, either creating Reels that are specific to your offers. Maybe it's your monthly promotion, an evergreen promotion, whatever it is. And by the way, Daniela, you could probably share some great tips. Reels, you do a few, right? Do a few and you're going to see how easy they become. Your mind starts thinking in Reels. You start realizing like a successful Reel can just be a little tour. Literally like a 5-second tour of your facility and, a couple seconds of showing somebody actually getting the service that you're talking about. This does not need to be crazy. I do recommend.
I think they're more like what I've noticed. The ones that have done really well in spa are kind of funny. But it's like brand awareness and connecting people. Like I've seen a couple of spa owners in our Growth Factor program that do them. They specialize in Brazilian waxing. So they're, it's like one that got over 40,000 views. And this is an account with under 10,000. I think she has like 2,000 followers or something. And she got over 40,000 views. And it's just what I'm thinking about before I get a Brazilian wax. It was literally her like this and these different questions coming up.
Ooh, and then I love that.
One gal did the different types of, in a Brazilian wax, we wax everything front to back. And it was the different types of booty wax, right? Like how you get on the confused, the perfectionist, that like all the different ones. It was so creative and so cute. And it just shows her personality. It connects, and she got over 40. I think she was at 42,000.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. It can be, I think the intimidating part is just, it's something new to learn. It's like, and I don't know if this is just now that I'm 40, I'm an old lady. And it's like, man, am I going to have to start asking my 4-year-old how to do Reels or something? I'm like, when does that start? Because as soon as she can just do my Reels for me, that'll be great.
Oh, literally. I mean, I'm guessing she's on like a 3-year sort of
3-year plan. Yeah.
3-year plan, 3-year, totally. That's going to be so good when they can do that. And I have a daughter the same age, so trust me, I'm watching her skill set too. Like, let's get this going.
But the thing is, they have to, I know it's like nobody wants to dance.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what to do. The editing piece, adding, how do we do the video and then adding the text and then the timing? And you guys, like, I get it. And I am the biggest proponent of make sure you're spending your time doing revenue generating activities, 100%. But we are seeing insane results. 184% increase in website taps.
Wow.
People going to your website from the reel, that means they're going to be, that's like, oh, I want to learn more about this business, not just your profile, but clicking over to the website. How can I work more closely with them? Right? That is what we want from our social media. We don't want people to follow us or engage with us if they're not the right ideal client who we are trying to serve. But when, just like, I feel like for me, when I switched to doing the podcast from blogging, there was this huge piece where people got to know who I was as a person more. And I feel like with Reels, it's almost breaking it down that people get to see your personality in a different way. And they get to see like a more fun side or a more creative side of you and your team. And it's just building a connection.
100%. This, and we're saying Reels, right? But this is actually indicative of an entirely new type of marketing that is never going away. And that is short form video. And so really mastering this short form video is honestly probably one of the best skill sets that you can do to take your business into the next 3, 4, 5 years. And the other thing that I think will be on its heels will be, this audio revolution that's happening. We've got podcasting, we've got, live audio with Clubhouse. And I'm sure
I know Facebook is coming out with a Clubhouse competitor.
Totally. And in fact, this is actually very cool. Facebook is coming out with the ability to, they're going to start featuring podcasts on Facebook. So that's
I heard about that too.
Yeah. So imagine that's going to increase time on platform. So you got to be thinking about, as a business owner, again, you don't have to be the one executing on this stuff, but you do need to be aware of where the social trends are, where the marketing trends are, because this is how you take your business forward, the next 2 or 3 years. And Daniela just gave this beautiful story of like switching from blogging to podcasting is kind of the primary focus and vehicle, and just how and I know, Daniela, this is like absolutely, you followed that, or you got ahead of that trend. Actually, I think you were really, insightful about where that was going and very visionary of you. And you got ahead of it. And now look, you've got one of the top podcasts, the top podcast in your niche, one of the top podcasts in business. I mean, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. And so this is where you as a business owner, and so often we just need time to think, thinking time to literally just sit down and say, where do I see the trends in my community? Because you're a local, spa owner, you really need to understand that. Who are the influencers in my community? Where do I see the trends on social media? Where do I see the trends going in marketing? And how are we stacking up? And usually, if you think through those questions, you're going to unlock so many cool things. And it's so cool because it means you're not copycatting anymore, right? You're actually creating a vision for you that feels really unique to you. That's your voice. And then to watch your team execute that and unfold that vision is really quite a spectacular thing.
And I think that so many brick and mortars think, oh, well, podcasting is for online businesses, or podcasting is for, but like as a spa, I think podcasting is one of the greatest things that you can do if you create a podcast that's all about, like, you create a podcast for your ideal client that's local. Like one of our gals in Growth Factor last year was planning to do a podcast about aging and then her city name, right? So she is coming up as searchable. She's coming up as local. She can talk to other business owners, other wellness experts, right? And so she is the host of this local podcast talking about anti-aging, or someone else that I was talking to wanted to do like Fabulous Over 50 in such and such city, right? Brought to you by Skin Rejuvenation Spa, the owner of Skin Rejuvenation Spa, right? Like you have these pieces here that we have to think bigger, that advertising and brand awareness is not just buy my thing. Here's an ad, buy my thing. It's building that brand relationship on a bigger level, becoming a name, a household name in your community, so that when someone does think, oh, I need a wax or I need my brows done or whatever, you're the first person that comes to mind. And podcasts, remember, are searchable now for SEO. So they are coming up in Google searches. So if you have a podcast titled whatever in your city and someone is searching for, whatever, insert that thing, lashes in your city or waxing in your city, you're going to come up in the search results. So there's so many pieces of then creating the social ads that can go to this to build that awareness of who you are as a company.
Absolutely. And the more stuff you have like that, right? So taking this now to the ad strategy, the more stuff you have like that, the more effective your ads will be. It's really hard to run ads when you have zero assets. You have to at least have a landing page and some good ad copy and things like that. But as you continue to deepen your reputation in your local community, now you've got some local media mentions or some events, some local events that you've been involved with, you can start running ads to that very, very cheaply. I mean, I'm talking $1, $2 a day type of thing, raising that awareness. And then as people come to know your name, you can retarget those people into your conversion offers, right? So that's where you've got your intro offers, whether it be monthly promotions or evergreen promotions, whatever it is you're focused on. That's where people now have trust and rapport built with you, and your advertising can really take off. So
let me just understand this.
Yeah.
I can do a reel.
Mm-hmm.
I can put some ad dollars behind it. Mm-hmm. And create a video view audience in this particular zip code, right?
Yep.
And then I can retarget those people in that zip code with my ad. So if I did a Brazilian wax reel and I want it to be shown to all the people in my zip code, I'm going to throw $100 behind it. Then I have an audience that I can target, that anyone that watched this video for X amount of time, right? The 3-second rule, I think, 3 seconds. Then I'm going to show them that ad, which is going to make my ad a lot cheaper.
Yes.
And people that are actually interested in Brazilian waxing. And they already know your name.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is really like the first thing that I would say that's important. Actually, I was going to say this is kind of an advanced technique, what you're describing, Daniela, but really, it's not. It's easy to do. Facebook has made it so easy and it's so effective, right? And the other thing that you can do is take some of your more popular reels. Now, if it's a reel that's not relevant, but it's super popular, that's not going to be effective, right? If you're opening your fridge and for some reason,
it's your dog running around or something.
Yeah, your kids, like, even if it's so, like, it was just so popular, it obviously needs to be relevant to whatever you are advertising for. So you can take some of these reels that are really relevant to your offers, again, monthly promotions, something that you run all the time, whatever that offer is. And that can be your creative. You can use those, you can upload those videos as your creative. So maybe it's for, it's a video it's a video views ad, or it's a video conversion ad. You can reuse all of these creative pieces for your advertisements, which is pretty awesome. So just think about, how can you multi-purpose this stuff? I've also seen people be, just thinking organically again, have a lot of great results from putting their reels in their emails. And getting people to click over to whatever the thing is, whether it be, again, a landing page with an offer, back to your social media to follow you. So just really think about recycling these beautiful pieces of marketing collateral, because they can be working for you so much harder.
Okay, so we have talked about a lot of information. I want to wrap up with one last question that might be kind of a long answer, but what do you see in the future? Like what's coming with Facebook, with everyone talks about the algorithm changes, like what is happening? What do we need to know as business owners for the future?
And I don't know how long this will be relevant for, but I'll tell you what I see in the very near future. Okay, so Facebook, who's paying the bills at Facebook? It's us, right? It's advertisers, small business owners, et cetera. Their job is to keep us happy. And right now, they kind of have a little bit of a hornet's nest happening with the updates with iOS, not being able to track. People are taking their budgets to all sorts of other platforms, right? They're trying TikTok and Pinterest. And what does Facebook want? They want to keep us on their platforms. So I'm going to stake my place in the ground, mark my words. I bet over the next 6 to 12 months, I'm going to give it a 12-month span. It might be a little bit less. It could be a lot more. I see Facebook loosening the algorithm on a few things. Number one, I think that organic posts like on your Facebook page, you know how those have been dead for a long time. I see that having a major comeback. I would not be surprised if we see over the next few months our posts suddenly getting more and more reach. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see things. So I have always been a proponent of, especially the last few years, conversion ads, right? You have to set up the pixel and do all the tracking and blah, blah, blah. What used to be super effective was boosting posts and website traffic ads. Used to be amazing. And then you had to learn all of these other strategies because of how Facebook kind of categorized all of us and learned our behavior. And, you know, they were going to say purchase ads for people who wanted to get purchases, and they were going to save traffic ads for people who just wanted more blog views or things like that, right? So I would not be surprised if traffic ads take off again. I would not be surprised if boosted posts were super effective again. So it would not surprise me if Facebook, in kind of creating this new world of advertising, if they kind of go back to how things were 2 or 3 or even 4 years ago, when it was much simpler, much easier to do. There wasn't as much advanced tracking with pixels and whatnot, while they figure out truly what will become the new solution, right? So I just would not be surprised if you start noticing. I don't think there will be any announcements or anything like this, but as you're putting stuff out there, you're boosting posts, don't be surprised if you start to see these things being like, whoa, this is like taking off. Like Facebook is really prioritizing that. And the last thing I'll say, and this is kind of a trend that's been happening for a while, is groups have been hot. Facebook's been very vocal about it's all groups on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, I have seen so many local businesses be so successful with Facebook groups. And the way that you become really successful with a Facebook group is, yes, you're promoting your services in there, but you're also promoting community events. You're also promoting other businesses that are complementary to yours. And you're getting a group, you're getting like a group of business owners in there who are really providing relevant local content, right? Mm-hmm. So it has to be local content. Nobody really cares about like, I don't know, generic stuff. It has to be local, relevant content. But if you're like, hey, who's coming to yoga this week? Yoga on the beach. Like, I'll be there. My whole crew will be there. We're partnered with the local community yoga studio, and we hope to see so many of our people
we're seeing
there.
Right now that's just working incredibly for brick and mortar spa moms groups. So pretty much,
for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like you'll see pretty much every town has like Moms of Bethesda, Moms of Potomac. There's like all these different moms groups, and they're posting in there, oh, I went to this spa, I went to this. I have one gal who's getting 10 new clients a week for months from this group, from one group, months.
Yeah.
They just keep going and going and going. So it's like, how can you, even if you don't want to manage your own group, how can you participate, add value? Don't be spammy and promotional, but how can you add value, share information, and people will talk about you, in those groups. Absolutely. That's one of the best ways that's referral. Like, right there.
Referral on in such a hugely scalable, way. Like, and that's what I do all the time. Like, oh, I want to find a new salad place. Oh, I'll go post it in the moms group, So think about moms groups, think about having your own group. The big thing to know with groups is that's what Facebook is putting at the top of the news feed. So every day we have 1,500 posts in any given day, new posts in our news feed. And businesses typically are the bottom of the pile. The low, 5 to 10% is all your business posts. But what's not is the group posts. Group posts go right to the top of the newsfeed. So be thinking about how can you leverage, again, looking at what the trends are right now and how can you leverage that for your business.
Okay, one last thing. Messenger ads. You had mentioned that messenger ads are working really well for brick and mortar.
Messenger ads. And I will also add in one more note, but I won't talk about it, lead generation ads as well. That's where people stay on Facebook to fill out forms. Messenger ads. So the thing with messenger ads is you need to be on it with your backend. So if somebody messages you, you really have a short window, I would say maximum 4 hours to respond to them, or they're not going to be very interested. Now, you can create little bots and things like that to kind of make sure that they get an instant response, but you can also just do it manually. And I've seen so much success with this. So easy. You have a great video or great image of you, your studio, your team, whatever, your services, whatever it is you're promoting, right? So some image or video that's relevant to that. Great copy. By the way, I recommend you go through a testing protocol. The way I teach it, you're testing copy, imagery, and your headlines. And then obviously your offers, landing pages, et cetera, if those apply. And then you're just encouraging people, message us, just message us.
And then something your front desk can be responding to.
100%. Absolutely. You're simply taking that conversation over to Messenger. It could be message us to schedule your first appointment, message us to schedule your free consultation, whatever it is, message us, take that over to Messenger, follow up on that back end, make sure you're following up plenty of times. Template the response, test all of your responses, template the ones that work best for you and your team, put that into a Google Doc, make that, your standard operating procedure and just scale it until you fill capacity. I mean, really that's kind of the simplified, but actually it's a really simple funnel, but that's like a very simple explanation of it, but take that and run with it. Messenger ads are doing great right now.
I love that. Okay, so you guys, if you want to learn more about Facebook ads from the best of the best, go visit Successful Ads Club. Tara, how can they find you? How can they learn more about ads?
Absolutely. SuccessfulAdsClub.com is our main page. I also have a toolkit that I made from literally hundreds of conversations with business owners. I took the major themes of those conversations, packed it into a toolkit, 21 words to avoid, headline swipe ideas that you can just steal from us and use for your offers. It has everything in there. So you can go to youradkit.com, and you can get that for free. You can also
include all these links. So yeah, we'll include it all below to make it much, much easier. But yes, check all of that out. You guys, I have built my entire business using Facebook ads. And Tara, if you guys hear me talking about when I didn't know what funnels were, Tara was the one that I called and I was like, what is a funnel? What is everybody talking about? I feel like I'm going crazy. Tara was the one that so patiently explained to me everything with ads, with funnels, all of that stuff way back in the day. And here we are 7 years later doing pretty well.
Amazing. Daniela, thank you so much. It was so lovely to be here with you and your amazing audience today. I just want to add one last thing, like you are the real deal and people who learn from you are so lucky. And I know that you change so many lives with how you serve your estheticians and spa owners, and you change their financial futures, you change their family legacies. And really, I mean, it goes such a heart thing for you. And I know it goes so beyond the surface of what you offer, which is absolutely amazing, but it goes into truly changing lives because you're teaching them how to change lives for other women. And I was one of those women that had their lives, changed by the spa industry in such a profound way. And that's why I've been so passionate about it ever since. So, you're the real deal. And people who learn from you, just the way you teach them and the systems you teach them and how to create all this freedom for themselves. I just want to say that you are absolutely incredible.
Oh, thank you. I will receive that. Thank you very much. All right, you guys, if you want to keep this conversation going, head on over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group, right? The groups, that's where we keep it. So head on over to the group, keep the conversation going, ask us questions, let us know how we can help and support you. And we will catch you on the next episode.